Just a few more races to go over, and then we'll start on classes. And I'll take my time. I've been dreading this one because honestly, I hate them. Gnomes. I usually don't even allow them in my games. That's how much I detest gnomes. I don't think they really fit a niche that's not already filled by the dwarf or the halfling, and most people play them are just trying to get a rile out of you. I made jokes. Someone plays a chaotic neutral gnome bard in your campaign, just end it there, because it's going to die. They're going to kill it, and they're going to think it's funny. Easy to qualify for. Int 7, Con 8, +1 Con, -1 Charisma. Dwarf stats, right? Dwarf stats. Assassin, Cleric, Fighter, Illusionist, Thief. But they're dwarves who can cast spells. They're the eternal tricksters. They can be pretty mean little illusionists. Yeah, they do. If you're just looking at stats and mechanics, yeah, they are your magical midget. And the illusionist thing, you know, not a lot of people play illusions. They require a bit more ruling, and they require situation. Right. Really good for confusing the enemy, and really good for urban and stuff. A lot of stuff is immune to illusions. And most of your illusions that players think of don't make any sense for the situation, almost immediately requiring a check. Now, one of the things they give them in here, besides the standard 20 feet around, because he's a stumpy, 60-foot infravision, and they can't use two-handed weapons, longbows, or even the heavy crossbow. They do get a +1 attack versus kobolds. That's a racial enmity. I don't feel much difference between a gnome and a kobold most of the time. They do have a 2 and 6 underground sense, similar to the dwarf for hazardous structures, but not for mining. They don't get all the miner stuff. It's hazardous structures, depth, and slow passages. So a weaker version of the dwarf ability, right? They get a 1 and 6 gem appraisal, inferior to the dwarf. And then they get a saving throw bonus, similar to the dwarf. I think it's the same, actually. Now, their illusions last 3 rounds longer. So when these gnomes in Dragonslayer cast spells, the concentration spells that are illusion will last for 3 rounds after they stop concentrating, which means they can do an illusion and run away while they stop concentrating. I mean, for an illusionist thief or a fighter illusionist, it could be interesting. But like I said, the fighter is so harmed by the worst of both classes. It's rough. I think they can still get the best of both saves, though, or the worst. I gotta double check. I think it's the worst of everything when it comes to restrictions. They get the standard +4 if it's bigger than 7 feet and attacking me, just like a dwarf. You see the pattern here? Halfling, dwarf, gnome, they get pretty much all the same stuff. Thief skills are decent bonuses, and they only become a gnomish, just as xenophobic as the dwarves. They're similar to both dwarves and different from dwarves and halflings, which I could see. And they're also quoted as being outstanding alchemists. So they're your magical midget race, right? They live to be about 300. So they don't live as long as dwarves either. They live longer than a halfling, much longer than a halfling. They don't live as long as a dwarf. Starting age is anywhere from 35 to 55 plus a die modifier. And they don't get to be 3.5 foot tall. So if you want something smaller than a dwarf, about the same size as a halfling, they can cast spells. It's a go-to. Certain types of characters players are drawn to gnomes. And if you enforce a 20 feet movement per round, that'll deter them. Role-playing options. You're going to get pranksters and troublemakers playing gnomes. Sometimes these are just hard combos. You've seen over the years. I've been burned one too many times, people. Been burned one many times. I'm thinking about knocking out the rest of these races so I can really start talking about the classes. I think it's where the niche protection and stuff really starts showing its strength. But yeah, I don't have a lot to say about gnomes because I honestly just don't like them. If we weren't doing this as close to raw the first time through, I wouldn't even allow them at my table. That's how I feel about them. But since we're also delving onto, we're doing the game I'm doing is Ruins of Magic User School and Magocracy. There's going to be illusion stuff, so I'm surprised we didn't have a gnomish illusionist plundering along with the rest of the park. Whew, hiccups. That's it. It's probably going to be the shortest one because I don't like them. Later.